Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 64 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on today. So, yay, I made it to day 64. I am extremely tired today. I'm seriously wishing I would have taken a nap or something today. Need to go to bed sooner than later, too. Sorry. I had a productive day today. I probably did too much today, but it's all stuff that needed to be done, so it got done, I guess. I read my scriptures and meditationals. I did 3 loads of laundry today, so now I have clean clothes. Yay! I went to the bank. I paid bills. Gave a friend a ride home from work tonight, and I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. I have been struggling to focus or think about things, and I read things in my scriptures and meditationals this morning, and I wrote down some stuff, and I was like, oh, this is really good stuff. I don't remember any of it now. I really don't. I did, however, send my book, Recognizing God's Hand in My Life, to my mentor to review. And forgot to mention this in my video yesterday because it occurred to me after I ended my video yesterday that like the whole point of this is to promote my books that I'm writing. So my mentor sent me an email back, and it was very sweet, very interesting. I'm not entirely sure how to take it, to be perfectly honest. I'm pretty sure it was meant as a compliment, but when I sent her my book, I told her I know it's my first draft and it needs a lot of work. And so she sent it back to me saying she knows I want to get working on it. Like I'm in some kind of a huge rush. So she's only been about halfway through it. She's not even finished with the whole thing, but she's already got suggestions on what I can do to change and do all that stuff. But then, of course, she put in there the email that she knows that I'm really good at taking suggestions and making necessary changes without, changing the story or, losing my story in it or whatever. And then she said that she's really enjoying my story. So I'm just like a little nervous about opening the attachment to the document, my book that she sent back to me, and seeing how far she actually got in it and seeing how many changes. Because as much as I do like writing, it can be a daunting thing, and sometimes it's just a little bit daunting to go back through other people's stuff, and it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than my fantasy fiction books to take. And I don't want to call it criticism. It's not a negative thing, but suggestions, changes, ideas from other people, because this is a personal book. It's a story about my life and my relationship to God, and seeing God's hand in my life, and the blessings that I've had in my life despite the trials and abuses and whatever things that I endured. So it's a very personal book, so it's very hard. It's necessary for me to get suggestions, and in order to make the book better, to make it flow, because I know I don't have the best grammar and punctuation. I think it's improving a little bit the more I do writing and working with other people, but I also I know my story and I know myself, but I don't necessarily always know how to convey what I'm thinking in my writing to other people. So it helps when they ask questions or make comments and say, hey, this doesn't make sense, or this needs more information, or this is just too much information, too much fluff, whatever the case may be. So, and I know my mentor, I've worked with her for over a year, and she's very, very kind with what she says. She's always very encouraging. She just always tries to explain her reasoning behind things, and always reminds me that it's my story. So if I don't want to make any of the changes she's suggesting, I don't have to. They're just suggestions for improvement, which I like that a whole lot better than criticism, because there's some people that are like, oh, it's helpful criticism. And I'm like, yeah, but criticism just has such a negative connotation to it. Like you're criticizing someone because they're just not good enough, and that just does a whole lot of triggers for me. So I like suggestions to make it better or suggestions for improvement. So it's not saying that what I did was bad or not good enough. There's just, these are ideas as ways to improve my book. And I know that's what she sent me in email. I just wasn't prepared for her to send me that. I wasn't expecting that. And then, of course, I realize I don't have to meet other people's expectations, but I kind of feel like I do. So it's kind of like, oh, she sent that to me and she's saying that I want to work on my book, which I do. And so she's not waiting until she's done reading it. She's giving me the opportunity to fix what she's already done, which is very kind of her. Not that but I'm like, I'm not impatient. I wish I had more energy and focus, because working on that book, especially that particular one, it does require a lot of mental energy, a lot of spiritual energy, a lot of focus. I'm still not even sure how I got through today, to be perfectly honest. I think most of it I just kind of was in zombie mode, but I just did because stuff needed to be done. So I just kept getting up and I'm like, okay, I'm up. What am I going to do? And then I'm laying down. I'm like, and I wish I was sleeping. But I didn't. But it is nice to have someone respond back about my book and give me suggestions. And I know I've sent it to a couple other people that are doing the same thing. So to me, I was kind of going to wait till I got all the suggestions back, because I have a tendency to just take one person's suggestions and then just change it according to that, which I think it works initially with the first couple of, well, the first or second writing, because it's like you write it the first time, and then you write it like a second, maybe a third time, and then you got to send it to beta readers, because you got to get multiple opinions, because it's really easy to just please one person in your writing, to make it clear to one person, especially if it's someone that knows your background or knows the story or whatever the case may be. So it's helpful to get feedback from multiple people. So I am but this is only my first draft, and I only sent it out to like 2 or 3 people. I didn't send it out to like a whole bunch of people. And then of course I got sick, so that's just been up in the air, doing who knows what, in limbo. Same with my Lanoya book, it's kind of up in limbo, and I just haven't pestered the people that I've sent it to, or that to look at it or whatever. And I still feel like the Lanoya book is so much closer to being done, because I've already rewritten that one like 3 times, and I'm like, I think it's just almost to the point where it needs to be edited. I don't know how much more of the story or plot in that needs to change. I think it just needs to be edited and then figure out the whole publishing process. But I don't know. I'm going to send that book to my mentor next, and then she can look at it and see what she thinks. And I may try to get a hold of my friend from the writing group, and see if her book club that she was going to let read my books have read it and have any responses back. So I have ideas as to whether or not it's ready to be published or close to be ready, or if it requires a whole another rewrite. I don't even know. But some days I feel like just scrapping the whole story and starting all over again. And other days I'm like, oh, it's perfect just the way it is, which is why I leave it alone and I wait for responses so I have an idea. But it helps me to gauge where I'm at in the writing process, or how close I may or may not be to getting published. And it also helps to remind me what I did that was good, because then I go back, it gives me that break. So when I go back to read, I'm like, oh, hey, I actually like my writing. Hey, this is pretty cool. Oh, cool, I wrote that. And so it gives me an opportunity to see what I'm doing right and what I can improve on, which allows me to learn as I write, so that hopefully I will not have to write as many as many drafts, or have to do as many revisions of books in the future as I continue to write. So I did appreciate just, the little email notes, encouragement that, and she didn't say she was criticizing. She was just, helpful comments and things like that. She had some ideas, suggestions. So, and obviously she sent it back to me so I could get right on it. And I saw that last night and I was like, okay. And I kept thinking about doing it today. And then I was just like, I am just so tired. Like I can't. But, maybe tomorrow I will pop that open and see what kind of suggestions she's given me, because maybe they'll be really helpful, and I'll be like, oh yes, this makes sense, or oh yeah, I can totally do that. And it may not be as many suggestions or changes as I think it will be, And I also appreciate that she ended the email by telling me that she's loving my story. So that's a good thing too, because it's good because then it means it's flowing. She's understanding it. She's liking the idea for my story, regardless. But she's just hopefully giving me some helpful suggestions, so I have an idea as to where to go or how to proceed forward, which is the whole point of sending it to someone else, because I'm like, okay, I can keep writing it and think, hey, this is good, this works for me. I can keep reading it, and it's the same for me. I don't necessarily see the mistakes or the errors. Maybe I'll catch some punctuation things or sentence things, but not necessarily. I may or may not. I mean, I can maybe catch some of those things, but if there's something that's incoherent to the reader, I won't catch that because it's not incoherent to me, because I know what I mean. Although there have been a few times I have gone back to try to read what I was writing and I had no idea what I meant. So I might get some of that too. I don't know. Because sometimes I get really emotional or I get carried away and I just type stuff up or just kind of blah, whatever one am I typing. So it doesn't always make sense later, or doesn't always flow. It could go somewhere else in the story. So this is why I need help from other people. And I'm grateful that I can ask for the help. I'm grateful that I can accept the help. And I'm grateful for people that are, like my mentor that's like, hey, I know you want this, so here you go. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. Or I figured she would do the whole thing and I could just take my time while I sent her my other book to whatever. But she sent back like the half or whatever that she's looked at. So I don't know how much that is. So I was like, all right. So I need to put that on my to-do list at some point. But not today. And I have to remember that I'm in today, and this is what I could do today. Today, today I ran errands. Today, I paid bills. Today, I did laundry. Today, I guess going to the bank was the only errand. I didn't go run a whole bunch of errands. I just went to the bank. I paid bills. I gave a friend a ride home from work, and I did laundry today. So a little bit more work than I've done in a long time, but already dragging and feeling like I may be overdid it. I hope not, because I want to have energy to do more stuff tomorrow, and I don't feel like I had energy to do any of the stuff I did today, and I still did it. So maybe I need to just keep doing stuff even if I don't feel like I have the energy, because at least then things will get done and I won't be looking around my house feeling totally overwhelmed by things or stressing out about things, because I'm facing them and dealing with them and they will be done. But I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to feel impressed to do tomorrow or inspired to do tomorrow, or what's going to pop into my head, or what I'm going to be willing to do tomorrow. And I can't worry about that today because it's today. But today I can talk about my book and know that there are people out there that are willing to help me whenever I'm ready to finish it or to fix it, to revise it, whatever terminology you want, to improve upon it, to make it a little bit better, get it that much closer to being published, which is my ultimate goal. So I appreciate the response and the need to do that. So now I just have to get myself motivated to doing that. And I think that's all I have for today. I can't remember what I read this morning in my scriptures and meditationals, or what I was writing about. And I probably won't write in my journal again because I'm just so tired and my thoughts are just so jumbled that I don't like writing in my journal when I'm like this, because I start to write and then I just start falling asleep or whatever, and then I just end up with a whole bunch of weird scribblies in my journal and I don't even know what I'm writing. So not a good idea. But maybe I'll do some journaling in the morning or something. Maybe that'll help, because sometimes I could do it the day after and it's still okay. But to see how I feel, I need to stop trying to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow or what's left undone. I noticed that today, that I keep focusing on what's left undone. I keep focusing on being tired. I keep focusing on the whatever that isn't working in my life, and I keep forgetting to focus on what is working in my life and focusing on what I am doing and what is getting done. And that's where I need to put my focus and not worry about what I will or won't do tomorrow. And it's really hard for me to just stay focused on what I'm doing today. I have probably spent most of my life imagining what tomorrow or my future will be like. And someday it's going to be like this, that I will be happy, and forgetting that I can be happy today and that this is what my life is like today. And my life may never be like my fantasies or my imagination. But it doesn't mean I don't have a good life, and it doesn't mean that I can't be happy. It's just not how I imagine my life would be. But I imagine most people's lives don't turn out the way they imagine they would. Or if they do, I think they end up being kind of disappointed because it's not as exciting or wonderful, or they're not as happy as they thought they would be because they got everything they wanted. Um, so, sometimes it's just as much a disappointment to get what you want as it is to not get what you want. So, yeah. What is that saying? Be careful what you wish for, you might just get it. And sometimes that's a really good thing to get what you wish for, and sometimes not. It depends on what it is and how it turns out. And we never know how it's going to turn out. So, I think it's good to wish, to hope for things for the future, but not to expect myself to do something in the future or to be different in the future. I hope I will. I hope I continue to grow and to become a better person. That's always, I think, going to be my goal. And I hope at some point in the future I will get my books published. That's also one of my goals. But I can just figure out what a part of that I can do today to become better, to be aware of how I'm feeling today, taking care of myself today, to shift my focus to what I am doing, what I'm willing to do, what I can do, how am I feeling, what can I do about it, etc., versus what am I not doing, what am I disappointed in, what's not working. And it's really hard to make that shift, and I think I've made it a few times, and I've been really excited and happy about it, but it's really hard to maintain. It's really hard to internalize all of that. It's just kind of like I see it happening, and then I think sometimes I freak out and I flip back, or I see it happening, I'm like, this is so awesome, and then things just start feeling overwhelming, and I just slip back into that old habit without even realizing. And it was, tonight driving home from dropping off my friend, and I'm like saying a prayer, and I just kept talking about how tired I am, how this isn't working, how that. And I was like, I need to start being grateful for all the things I accomplished today, that I went to the bank, that I read my scriptures and meditationals, that I did 3 loads of laundry, that I still went and picked up my friend and gave her a ride. I mean, I did a lot of things today. No, it doesn't matter if I was tired. I still did in spite of being tired. I still accomplished things. I got most of my bills paid. I got a lot of things done that needed to be done. I know I didn't do everything. Of course not. I'm the tortoise. I go really slow. I can't anticipate doing everything. And there's lots of things I would still like to do or get done, and I just don't have the energy or the desire. I mean, I think some part of me has the desire, but I just don't apparently have the willingness to do it or the energy to do it. So, or maybe I'm just not ready. And I know when I'm ready, everything falls into place. It works, and I just get up and do, even if I'm tired or don't feel good or whatever. I just do it because I'm ready to do it, because it needs to be done, because I've run out of excuses or reasons not to. And I wish I wasn't that way. I wish I wouldn't make excuses. I wish I would just face things and do them, but I don't. It takes me a while to, I guess, to accept things, to just do them, to whatever, which I guess I was hoping today, staying in today, would fix that by focusing on what today is, focusing on what am I avoiding today, what can I face today, what can I do today. And the problem is I haven't asked myself those questions. I don't ask myself those questions when I get up in the morning. I pretty much look at the end of my day and go, okay, what did I do today? How do I feel about what I did today? Is my day okay? Was my day not okay? And then I just kind of get on here and just, do a verbal journal entry, basically. This is what I did today. But it doesn't always have all of the emotion and all of the details in it, because I leave all of that out for these videos. So that's why journaling is so much better. Not better for you watching these videos, but, and this is still helpful for me, but journaling, helps me in a different aspect as far as letting go of what I did for the day, of recording spiritual thoughts and ideas. And in my journal, I don't edit things out that I do in videos. Like, I put people's actual names and situations and far more details that are blah, blah, blah boring, but I write them anyway because that's who I am. And I like to talk and I like to write. So I had a roommate in college and she literally could write like a paragraph or less a day. And she wrote every day. But I'm like, paragraph, half a page? I'm like, how do you write? And she's like, oh, I just, whatever spiritual thing or whatever that I learned today, or, whatever was most important or essential, I just write that down. I'm just like, I don't know that I ever actually read any of her journal entries, but I was like, how do you sum up your whole day in a paragraph? I can't do it. I don't think I have any journal entries that are a paragraph. Like, none of them. Even when I was a kid, they're not a paragraph. They're like a whole page or 2 pages or 5 pages because I haven't written for like a whole week and I'm trying to catch up everything I did for an entire week. I'm insane. No, I think I'm a writer. I was talking to my friend yesterday. I sent her a text message, my Al-Anon friend. Anyway, I sent her a text message, and she texted me back and said that she basically quoted what I sent her, and she said, this, sounds kind of like a song or maybe a poem. And I was like, is it a song or a poem? And then I just kind of wrote her back. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm a writer. I didn't even think about it. It's just what popped into my head. But I guess the way I wrote whatever sounded like the beginning of a poem or a song or maybe a stanza or something in one of them. So I was like, cool. But I did not take the time to look at that and actually come up with an entire poem or something that could be put to music. I don't write music, so I probably have several poems that could be turned into songs, but I don't write music, so it doesn't work that way. But I didn't turn it into anything. I didn't even think about it that way. I just was responding to her question and just gave her an answer, and that was it. But anyway, I'm a writer and I'm a talker. I like to talk and I like to write. Those are my things I do. Get me started and I can't stop. But sometimes it's just getting me to open up and get started. So, and maybe that's what that email from my mentor is just an opportunity to open up and get started on my writing again. And that would be a wonderful thing because I know that's a good distraction for me and I enjoy doing that. I just wished I'd done my Lanoya book instead because that one's not as emotional and personal as the other one. The emotional and personal one is a lot harder, especially since I'm planning on sharing it with the world. Not that everyone in the world will ever read it, not that a whole bunch of people will ever read it, but just putting it out there to strangers is a lot scarier. Just the idea of that, so is a lot harder than putting fiction out there. Putting fiction out there is still scary for me. So I like them much better, the stories in my head, because then they're mine and they're safe, and I know I know all about them, but I don't have to share them. But they don't do me any good in my head. They need to come out to heal me and to heal others or entertain others or whatever the case may be. So maybe that's just God helping me get motivated, become more willing to get back into my writing, because that's what it is that I've apparently been called to do, or that's what I enjoy doing, and it would be beneficial for me at this point. And that's all I have for today, I think. So before I start making up any more things that don't make any sense, if you like these videos, find them helpful, entertaining, whatever, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe do some writing.